Is this live or recorded or what?
This is recorded. This is recorded right now, and it's not going to be live. But right now, this is the Summerville Sentinel interview series with Tom Fernandez. I'm your host, CJ Westfall, and Tom is running for District 100 for the South Carolina State House. And was that a cow?
No, yes, that is a cow going by on 18 wheels.
Tom, you are a member of the South Carolina State Guard, high-ranking official. I want to hear what that is. You are also a local attorney. You're also a business owner, small business owner, creating jobs with Skyview Aerial Solutions. What did I miss? What did I miss on the resume?
I'm an American. I'm a father of 6 girls. I am a submissive husband. Looking at my wife right now across the parking lot. And what else? I a staunch defender of personal liberties in the Constitution down the center. Plain and simple.
Right on. Well, you and I had done an interview together in 2018 in your first run. And back then, I mean, you had come out of nowhere. You were a wrecking ball, slamming into everything, and no one knew who you were. And now I think it's opposite with this run. I think everywhere you're going, people are saying, hey, I've seen your videos. I've seen that pizza video, What's changed since 2018 and that last run? What's changed for Tom?
There's only one thing that's changed. More people know who I am. And here's what's just interesting. When 2018, right before the primary occurred, I told people, and I tell them still, I said, look, win or lose, Tom Fernandez ain't going anywhere. I said, if I win this election, great, you guys are going to see a lot of amazing things happen. If I lose, you're going to see a lot of amazing things happen. So, and you know what? The reason why I said that is because there's a problem in politics. Everyone recognizes it. Even the incumbents recognize it. That when the election cycle's over, once it's finished, where does everyone go? They disappear.
Right.
Even candidates who are running this year that ran last year in their same districts, they disappeared for 2 years. And now all of a sudden they're back in the picture. They're back being active. They're doing charitable work for organizations. Where were you for 24 months? So the thing that has changed between then and now, Tom Fernandez has become a household name.
I agree. Tom, this is something I know you're deeply passionate about. Yesterday we saw some protests in Lansing, Michigan. All the people honking their horns, trying to reopen Michigan. What's your thoughts on reopening, Governor McMaster reopening? What's your thoughts on Jonathan Hill's letter to the governor? And what can we do to speak up and make something happen here?
It should have never closed. I mean, he should have never done that. And everyone who agrees with me and says that the government should have never closed it, they always preface their statements with a disclaimer, kind of like they're apologizing for what they're saying. Oh, we understand COVID-19 is really dangerous and we're taking it serious, but we should have never closed. How about this? Don't even bring up COVID-19. Don't even bring up coronavirus. There is no reason that our government should at any time be telling private businesses that they should close, even temporarily. It's unconstitutional. If you don't think it is, I'm not going to put you on my jury.
Tom, I was out playing basketball and we were not following the social distancing laws this weekend. Good. And my Nazi of a neighbor called the police on us. Good. And I told the police officer, I was like, you can't do anything to us. Freedom of assembly, no judge would convict us if you put us in handcuffs. So keep it moving. And we were respectful, but good God, man, you're giving neighbors the opportunity to call the police.
It smacks of the 1930s in Germany, where neighbors were calling the authorities on each other, and people who were friends, people who grew up with each other. And when you get to a point here in America where the government has caused such a division, the Constitution is grieved. It strikes at the very core of what our Constitution tries to protect when the government is now turning neighbor against neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. Tom, these are strange times. Not only do we have the stay-at-home order right now, but Berkeley County was just ravaged with a tornado. I believe there was 9 deaths. Went right through part of your district that you're running to represent in Moncks Corner. And I think I saw you out there helping out with something. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that tornado, the news, I think it was, I'm not even sure who reported it as a 160-mile long path. When you talk to the National Weather Service, it isn't really 160 miles. Each one's its own individual tornado. And one of those tornadoes actually touched down in Moncks Corner as an EF2. That's
Wow.
winds as high as 135 miles an hour. I mean, 120 what they said. And basically stuff like that will take a 2x4 and put it through a windshield of a car.
Right.
And there were pictures of that. So that tornado touched down in an open field. There was nothing around in that field, but its path carried it into some homes. And it wiped some homes off their foundations. Gone. There was a Berkeley County Sheriff deputy sleeping in his house on that road when the tornado started to destroy his house. His wife had to punch him awake as the roof was being torn
Oh
from
my
his
gosh.
house. He didn't even realize it until he woke up, looked up, and he told me on the phone, I saw sky.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
and it's not just that part of Moncks Corner. The tornado actually also traveled across the Cooper River. It traveled into a portion of Berkeley County called Cordsville in Macedonia, and it started destroying homes there too. So what we did is we were asked by that deputy, if we can get some pictures of his home so he can submit it to his homeowner's insurance. Of course, the homeowners are probably going to come in and replace all of that, which is great, but they want to document it. So we were asked to come and take pictures of it, and we said, fine, we're going to donate our time. I mean, not just because he was a Berkeley County deputy, but because he was a Berkeley County neighbor. And it wasn't the time for us to profit off of someone's misfortune. Now, I know that sounds like a great thing for, oh, Tom, we're going to vote for you now. No, that's what I always do.
Well, you know what, Tom? I think I want to cut you there because you talk about where the hell have you been for the last 24 months. I've been just watching you work like a savage on 20 different things, whether you're helping organize a cleanup at the animal shelter, whether you're pressuring local government on cleaning up the nasty Viva tire plant, whether we're getting a new stoplight put in so I can go get my Wendy's Frosty at the Flying J.
With French fries.
You are absolutely everywhere and the most visible person in Berkeley County. What is driving this? Why are you going at every single case as rapid as you can? Where is this coming from, Tom? Where is this coming from?
So I never planned to do this. I never planned to run for a political office. I never planned to do any of this stuff. I just got mad one day, and I can trace it all the way back to a fire station inside Cane Bay, where some firefighters in that fire department were telling me about what was going on and the issues with the government. And so when I started diving into that issue, I started witnessing or hearing about how these government officials and the politicians were belittling people, and they were threatening them, and they were threatening their spouses. And I started saying, hold on a second. People's spouses are being threatened, their jobs are being threatened, and I got angry. That's it. I got angry, and I said, no more. These people don't scare me. They have nothing they can do to me. So I just said no more. And
one of the big things that people will say is, oh, well, if there's corruption, just show us. If there's someone threatening, then show us. One example was something that you hopped right on. We saw the Moncks Corner mayor have a recent incident on the kickball field, and oh my gosh, the pettiness. Tom, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Listen, if someone's going to sit here and say, show me where the corruption is, okay, why don't you go down to Moncks Corner? Why don't you sit down and get a hot dog, get some peanuts, and watch the Moncks Corner mayor shout at a man and say, what are you going to do about it? I own this town.
Oh my God.
When you have when you have a politician who uses his position to threaten a private individual for calling his 26-year-old son out at home plate. This is a game. If you're angry about the call, kick dirt at the umpire and maybe worst case scenario, call him a bad name. Don't sit here and tell him that I'm going to make sure you're never out here again, and then 2 days later call his boss and make sure he's fired.
That is terrible.
If that's not corruption, I don't know what is. It's good old boy corruption.
Right, and it helps to have a 14,000 person group mouthpiece to get this kind of thing out. Tell me a little bit about how Berkeley County growth and development has changed since the 2018 run when you had initially started it.
Gosh, well, actually, I initially started in 2017, and
wow.
It started off as Cane Bay Growth and Development, and I started it while I was studying for the bar exam. The worst thing you can take in your life. I will never do it again. Don't become a lawyer. You will rob your childhood. So I as a break of studying for the bar exam 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours a day, I decided, you know what? I want to start taking pictures. I want to start taking pictures of this construction. I want to start, because I see so much stuff with one of my businesses, Skyview. I see everything that's going on. I am privy to a lot of drawings, to a lot of plats, to a lot of plans, and I wanted to start sharing them. So I did, and people loved it. And people started coming in by the hundreds, then by the thousands. And before we hit 5,000, I thought, wow, people from all over Berkeley County are coming in here. Let's change the name to Berkeley County Growth and Development. And we did. So it went from Cane Bay to all of Berkeley County. And now, I mean, it has transformed or evolved from not just showcasing construction and development, but the overall growth and development of physical development, social development, economic, political. So it encompasses all of these, human, social, economic, capital facets. People are just coming in. I can't tell you how many people come in a week.
Right.
It's huge.
It's a massive reach, and I really want to know, because one of the other criticisms that you'll hear, and it's just good to address this stuff before it even comes in the comments, is you get two types of politicians, in my view. You get those that like to play along and play ball with the good old boys, and that'll say the right things at election time, but go play ball. And then you get the pressure being applied, the old Tom Fernandez pressure. How has applying pressure helped you get things done? Like, for example, the Flying J stoplight. It was a mess over there, and if it wasn't for you applying that pressure, we wouldn't have that stoplight. Tell me where that comes from and how that strategy works.
It is all in negotiation. Okay, so Donald Trump wrote a wonderful book called The Art of the Deal, and he doesn't actually teach people how to negotiate plans. He just gives examples of different projects that he's done throughout his life. And I apply that to my own stuff. And basically, I'll just give you an example from my law practice. If someone's been in a car accident, okay, and they've been in the hospital for a long time, they rack up their medical bills. Once they're done treating, I throw all the medical bills and I throw a legal argument at the insurance company and I say, pay it. And we start going back and forth. We negotiate. I tell them why I think they need to pay this much money. They tell me why they shouldn't have to pay that much money. But the thing is if they don't realize that I am negotiating from a position of strength, they're not going to make any reasonable offers to me. They're not going to negotiate with me like I know what I'm doing until I show them that I'm willing to actually file a lawsuit against them. And so when you apply those same principles of negotiation to political or government issues, it's the same thing. So when it came to the Flying J light, I didn't just immediately go out and start making a lot of noise and being obnoxious. No, I contacted county council members. I contacted a state senator. We sat down and we had lunch and we spoke about how we can do this. Twice we sat down and had lunch. and it wasn't going anywhere. And I started learning about the obstruction, how the SCDOT refused to pay, to allow Flying J to pay for it, even though they offered. And then I started getting lied to by these politicians. I'm like, okay, you guys think I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire? Guess what? Screw you. And I embarrassed all of them. I gave them an opportunity to make it right. And then when it got on the news, wow, let's fix it. So if you don't negotiate from a position of strength, you might as well not even start a negotiation. Pressure comes last. It always comes last.
Right. When all other avenues have been exhausted.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me while I'm eating a crab rangoon.
Eat the crab rangoon, Tom. I'm really curious about this. Go ahead and finish that. You had run a poll the other day in your group of 14,000 people. Quite a few people, I think a couple thousand voted in it, which is kind of a big sample size when you look at some of these scientific polls that are done. And so right off the bat, you were trying to figure out who is for medicinal cannabis use, responsible medicinal cannabis use, and who isn't. And man, I was like really following that because, I mean, there's a huge reach of people throughout Berkeley County, and it came up about 90%, 80% for, 10% against. Is this something that you want to go up to the State House and apply pressure on? Is this one of the things that you want to get accomplished in the State House?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, yes, the medicinal use is a big part, okay? But it's not as much as the issue of marijuana, as it is more of the government should not be regulating morality. Whether you think it's moral or immoral to do something, to do some type of activity. It's not up for you to tell someone whether they should drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes, okay? Or to use marijuana. Now, thankfully, marijuana has many wonderful medicinal uses. But at the end of the day, it's not up for the government to tell us how to run our lives. And so marijuana, the reason why I'm pushing that issue is not just because of the liberty issue, but because it does have so many medicinal issues, not just for PTSD, but for a host of other issues that can be resolved instead of sticking people on all these addictive drugs that turn them into zombies.
Man, the opioids, they get addicted to it, and meanwhile, something with very little side effects could be used.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd really like to see you raise your voice on there, but when you go to the State House, what is the first thing that we can expect to see from Tom? I'm sure I can see the Speaker of the House reprimanding you on the first day. What's going to be the Tom Fernandez agenda? What can we expect? We want to look back at this interview and say, you know, here's what we said we were going to do, here's what we did. You know, promises made, promises kept. What can we expect to see from Tom?
The first thing right out the door, these people in power and these politicians need to understand that the people who are fighting for these liberties and fighting for these issues are coming from a position of strength. And you have to be able to show what that strength means. And that strength could come in the form of many different issues. When with the word on the street amongst politicians is if you win the election, whether you're an incumbent or a candidate, Speaker of the House calls you that night to congratulate you and set up a meeting. Jay Lucas, if you're watching this video, don't call me. Don't call me because I'm going to hang up on you. And if you do call me and I'm warned, I'm going to hang up on you live. Now, and the reason being is because what does he do for Berkeley County? Do the people in Berkeley County even care who Jay Lucas is? They don't. I don't need him calling me up and saying, oh, Tom, you know so much about drones. We're going to start a drone committee, and we're going to make you the chair as long as you play nice with me. I don't care about anything you have to offer me. So right out the gate, you have to be able to let these other people know that you're coming from a position of strength, and they don't intimidate you. Your strength comes from the people who you are representing. So there's a number of things I want to do. Of course, I want to hang up on Jay Lucas. I've already spoken to Representative Jonathan Hill. I don't know how much courage he has to do this, but I am not going to join the GOP caucus. Instead, we're going to set up a card table outside their conference room and need a bowl of Lucky Charms as the members are walking out. If they're going to call Jonathan Hill and Fighters for Liberty children, then we're going to sit there and eat Lucky Charms like children. And we're going to live stream it.
You know, there is something unique about this idea because the House of Representatives in D.C. has the House Freedom Caucus, Tom, and you know, the State House needs something like that. You know, we have the election. It's June 9th. How can people find out about your campaign, to donate, to pitch in? Because I know that there's probably mailers and Facebook ads that you'll need help with. How can people find out?
So here's the thing. Here's how you can help Tom Fernandez. First, you need to go to my political figure page. The political figure page is very easy to find. My profile picture is a ball cap. It's a ball cap of a "Don't Tread on Me" hat. My cover photo is usually me. Right now, it's me holding a red kickball. Go to that page and spam invite all of your friends to like the page. It's the reason why these politicians get things done when I say something is because it's not just Tom Fernandez saying it. It's because there's 200 people watching a live stream. And
Yep.
then there's thousands of people after that. So that's the big issue. Number two, and you don't get this from a lot of candidates or even from a lot of politicians. I don't need your donations. I am totally self-funding myself this
Wow.
year and probably foreseeably. And I have been, you know, I grew up poor. I grew up on a farm. We didn't have a lot of money. I got all of my clothes from a place called Value Village, kind of like a Goodwill.
Wow.
And so I am very blessed where my law firm is so busy, and I don't even have to advertise. My law firm is so busy. Plaintiffs' lawyers, I've learned over the last 2 years, live well if they perform well. And the law firm has been performing very well. So there's going to be not just signs and a lot of Facebook ads. You're going to see a lot of creative mailers coming out of the campaign. I mean, mailers like you've never seen before. How many politicians send out mailers encouraging their audience to throw it away? I do.
Well, how many politicians besides Donald Trump do you hear, "I don't want your donations. I want you to invite your friends to see what I have to say"? I mean, that sends a message right there.
It does. And you know, even there, it's not just the blessing of being able to self-fund my campaign. It's also the blessing of not being tied down by some lobbyist, by some special interest jerk here in the Low Country who wanted to give you a measly $100. Oh, do stuff for me now. I give you $100. Thank you. I have no strings on me. So I could be free and I can do and say whatever I want with no fear of offending some big donor. Plain and simple.
What a concept. What a concept. Tom Fernandez, we got to do this once every, more than once every 2 years, man. This is great. I appreciate you getting this all out for us.
I love it, brother. I love it. I always love it.
Awesome. Well, we're going to hop off. Thanks so much for joining us, Tom. This has been the Summerville Sentinel interview series. Keep tuned in for the next one. Have a great night, Tom.
All right, brother. Talk to you later.